Look up. Right now, you are standing on the surface of a cosmic bullet, hurtling at 107,000 kilometers per hour around a ball of nuclear fire. That fire, the sun, has been burning for 4.5 billion years. It's been there for every ancestor you've ever had, every meal, every breath. But what if it just stopped? What if right now the sun vanished? Not exploded, we'll get to that nightmare later, but simply disappeared. Poof, erased from the sky. You have 8 minutes and 20 seconds to finish reading this sentence, because after that, the truth arrives. And the true story of a sunless Earth isn't just about the cold. It's about the silence, the madness, and the lonely, frozen tomb of a world that didn't know what it had until the light went out. This is the true story of the end of everything. Let's freeze time. Let's say it happens at noon. You're walking down a busy street. You're looking at your phone. The air is warm. The sun vanishes at exactly 12 p.m. What do you feel? Nothing. For 8.3 minutes, the sun's gravity is still lying to you. Light takes time to travel 93 million miles. So for those first few minutes, the sun is a ghost. You can still see it in the sky because its final photons are still racing toward your retina. This is the deceptive window, the golden hour of the apocalypse. If you look up, you'll notice the sun isn't moving. It's frozen. Not setting, just static. Because the engine that was pushing it across the sky via our orbit has just been unplugged. At 12:02 p.m., the moon is still shining. That's a lie, too. Moonlight is just stolen sunlight. The moon hasn't realized it's a thief without a vault yet. Physicists in underground labs would be the first to scream. Neutrino detectors, those huge tanks of cleaning fluid buried in mines, would go silent. Neutrinos from the sun's core stop arriving. For the first time in 4 billion years, Earth is in a neutrino drought. The geeks in hard hats realize it first. They pick up the phone. They don't have time to finish dialing. And then, 8 minutes, 20 seconds. The last photon hits the Earth's atmosphere. It might hit a leaf in Brazil, a window in Tokyo, a dead pixel on your phone. Then, darkness. Not like turning off a lamp, like turning off existence. The sky doesn't go starry immediately. The stars are still there. But your eyes are adjusted to a sun that just vanished. For a full 2 minutes, you are blind. Absolute, primal, terrifying blackness. Then, your pupils dilate, and you see them. The stars. All of them. For the first time in human history, you see the Milky Way not as a smudge, but as a river of diamonds. No light pollution, no moon, no sun. It is the most beautiful thing you will ever see. And it will be the last beautiful thing you ever see. Because the screaming is about to start. Let's pause the nightmare for a second, because there's a huge misconception. People think no sun equals instant ice age. Wrong. The true story is weirder and worse. When the sun vanishes, so does its gravity. Earth is currently orbiting a center of mass that no longer exists. We are a ball on a string, and the hand holding the string just let go. We don't stop. We fly. At 12:08:21 p.m., Earth doesn't fall into the sun. It shoots off into interstellar space like a stone from a slingshot. We are now a rogue planet, a homeless world. But here's the part no sci-fi movie gets right. For the first week, the temperature doesn't drop that much.
The atmosphere is a blanket. The oceans are a radiator. Earth holds heat. Think about a cloudy night in a desert. The sand stays warm for hours after sunset. Now imagine that sunset is permanent, but the ground still has heat. For the first 24 hours, global temperatures drop by only a few degrees. You'll notice the wind picks up violently. The sun doesn't just heat the air, it drives the jet stream. Without solar heating, the equator and the poles equalize instantly. The temperature gradient that creates wind collapses. But before that happens, the remaining heat tries to balance itself. We're talking global superstorms, hurricane-force winds everywhere at once. But not for long. Within a week, the storms die, because there's no energy left to feed them. And then comes the silence. No birdsong, no insects. They're already dead. Insects, especially bees, are cold-blooded. The moment the temperature hits 50 degrees Fahrenheit, their metabolism grinds to a halt. Billions of corpses rain down like snow. But it isn't snow. Not yet. Now we get to the human story. The true horror of the dark. You have food in your fridge. You have a flashlight. You're fine, right? No. You have 3 weeks. Maybe. Week 2. The surface temperature hits freezing. The oceans are still liquid. They're huge thermal batteries. But the air is lethal. Frost forms inside people's lungs if they breathe too deep. But the real enemy isn't the cold yet. It's the plants. Without light, photosynthesis stops. Stops dead. Within a week, the planet's oxygen levels begin to drop. Not fast enough to suffocate you, that takes thousands of years, but fast enough to change the chemistry of your brain. You'll feel tired, dizzy, euphoric. Hypoxia is a liar. It makes you feel warm just as you freeze to death. But the plants, they rot. Even frozen, the decay of billions of tons of biomass releases methane and carbon dioxide. The air gets toxic. Society collapses in the first 48 hours. Not from panic, from logistics. Every gas station runs on electric pumps. The grid fails within hours because solar panels are useless and wind turbines freeze solid. Nuclear plants, they scram automatically. They shut down. The few people with diesel generators will run them for a week. Then the fuel gels in the cold. Then the generators die. Then the looting starts. But looting for what? Canned beans? You can't heat them. The only survivors of the first month are those who go deep. Submarines, underground bunkers, caves near geothermal vents. The Earth's core is still hot. Volcanic heat becomes the only oasis in a frozen desert. But those people aren't heroes. They're prisoners, trapped in the dark, eating the last MREs of a dead species. Here is a plot twist the doomsayers miss. The ocean. Water has an almost magical property, specific heat capacity. It takes a long time to cool down. For the first year, the deep ocean is still a balmy 39 degrees Fahrenheit. Hydrothermal vents, those black smokers at the bottom of the sea, pump out heat and minerals. They don't need the sun. Life around those vents has been thriving for eons without a single photon. In a sunless world, the vents become the ark. Tube worms, blind shrimp, extremophiles. They don't care that the sky is dead. If you could survive a year, if you had a nuclear submarine with a decade of fuel, you could watch the end of the world from below the ice cap. You could listen to the sonar ping back nothing. No whale song, no dolphin clicks. The surface is a frozen mausoleum. But below, the abyss lives. For a while. Even the deep ocean relies on marine snow, organic debris falling from the sunlit zone above.
Once that stops falling, the deep sea ecosystem collapses too. The vents survive, but the food web linking them to the rest of the ocean? Severed. By year 3, the only multicellular life left on Earth is huddled around volcanic cracks. Everything else, every whale, every shark, every seal, is frozen solid or starved. Let's speed up, because the true story is a slow one. Year 10. The surface temperature hits minus 100 degrees Fahrenheit. The atmosphere begins to snow. Not water snow. Oxygen snow. That's right. It gets so cold that the gases in our air freeze solid. First, CO2 turns to dry ice and coats the ground in a white crust. Then, at minus 218 degrees Celsius, oxygen turns to a pale blue liquid, then a blue slush, then snow. By year 100, the air pressure is 1/10 of what it was. The atmosphere has condensed into a frozen slushy on the ground. You couldn't breathe it even if you had a suit. The Earth looks like Pluto, a ball of ice with a frozen gas shell. But here's the kicker. Remember how we're flying away from where the sun used to be? We're not flying toward anything. The nearest star is Proxima Centauri, 4.2 light years away. At our current orbital velocity, 67,000 miles per hour, it would take us 70,000 years to get there. And we're not aimed at it. We're just tumbling into the void. The Earth becomes a ghost ship, a frozen corpse ball carrying the ruins of Rome, the bones of Paris, the stainless steel of the International Space Station, which is also dead and frozen, by the way, tumbling alongside us. No one is coming to save us. No aliens are investigating the sudden disappearance of a G-type star. To the rest of the galaxy, the sun just went dark. Stars don't vanish, so if they notice, they'll assume it was a natural event, a failed supernova, a direct collapse into a black hole. But it wasn't. It was just a cosmic shrug. Now, and this is the part where science gets weird. Could anything survive? We said the vents survive. But what about humans? If a civilization wanted to survive, they'd have to go underground. Not a bunker, a colony. Deep, deep down. The deepest gold mines in South Africa reach 2.5 miles down. The rock temperature there is 140 degrees Fahrenheit. Hot enough to boil water. Hot enough to grow mushrooms. In theory, a few thousand humans could live in geothermal caves. They'd grow food under UV lamps powered by geothermal electricity. They'd breathe recycled air. They'd never see the surface again. They'd lose their blue skies, their seasons, their history.
After 500 years, the survivors would forget the sun. They'd have myths about the great light. Their skin would turn pale, white as a cave fish. Their eyes would get bigger to see in the perpetual twilight of LED bulbs. After 1,000 years, the Earth's surface would reach equilibrium, minus 400 degrees Fahrenheit, colder than Pluto's moon. But deep down, a few candles of life would still flicker. After 10,000 years, something amazing happens. The galaxy isn't empty. The sun is gone, but the Milky Way's gravity is still there. Eventually, the Earth will drift into the gravitational influence of another star. In 1 million years, it might get captured. It might fall into a new solar system. And when it does, that star's light will hit our ice ball. The frozen atmosphere will sublimate, turn directly from ice to gas. The oceans, trapped as ice 6 in the mantle, will melt.
Rain will fall on a dead world for the first time in an epoch. Will life return? Maybe. The deep geothermal vents never died. Thermophilic bacteria, heat lovers, would have survived the entire Dark Age. When the new sun touches the ice, those bacteria might seed a new biosphere. It took 2 billion years for single-celled life to become multicellular life the first time. Maybe, in 2 billion years, intelligent beings will crawl out of the new oceans. They'll dig up our fossils. They'll find our cities crushed under glaciers.
They'll find a statue of a human being, frozen in a scream. And they'll wonder what happened to the species that lived under a star that just left. But here's the truth that haunts me. We take the sun for granted. We curse it for being too hot. We wear sunscreen. We build skyscrapers to block it. But the sun is not a star. Not to us. It's a parent. It holds us in its lap of gravity. It feeds us with photons. It powers every heartbeat, every lightning strike, every thought you are having right now. If the sun disappeared, we wouldn't die in an explosion. We wouldn't be vaporized. We would just stop. Like a song interrupted. Every dandelion seed that flies is powered by the sun. Every slice of bread is sunlight converted to sugar. Every breath you take, the oxygen came from a plant that split water using a photon. You are not a human. You are a temporary arrangement of carbon that the sun is currently borrowing. So the next time you feel insignificant, remember, you live on the only planet that we know of that has liquid water, plate tectonics, and a magnetic field. But none of that matters without a star. The true story of what if the sun disappeared is not a disaster movie. It's a eulogy. A reminder that we are riding a fragile spaceship through a dark, cold void, held together by sheer luck and a ball of hydrogen 93 million miles away. But the sun didn't disappear. It's still there. Right now, as you listen to this, it's fusing 600 million tons of hydrogen into helium every second. It's screaming radiation in every direction. And 93 million miles and 8 minutes later, that radiation is hitting your skin. Feel it? Probably not. You're inside. You're comfortable. You're safe. But the sun knows. It doesn't care if you thank it. It doesn't care if you notice it. It burns because that is what stars do. And because it burns, you exist. So enjoy the sunset tonight. Watch it. Really watch it. Because you just spent 20 minutes imagining a world without it. And that world, the true story, the cold, the silence, the frozen earth, is not a fantasy. It is a certainty. In 5 billion years, the sun will swell into a red giant and boil the oceans. Long before that, it will grow unstable. The end is written. But not today. Today, the sky is blue. The star is burning. And you are alive. Go outside. Look up. Say thank you.